Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford ZDC. I apologize if you hear anything in the background. The lawn is getting cut at the moment. But today we're going to be talking about the Kaviso Mini Keen. This is a knife that was originally designed by Ray Laconico, and it still is a Laconico design, of course, which you can see on the spine here, the R Laconico. This was originally designed by Ray and produced by MassDrop. That's a company that doesn't actually exist anymore, as far as I know. They might, but they don't do anything in the EDC world anymore. That time, it was a full-sized frame lock, a 3.5-inch blade, frame lock, titanium scales, titanium clip, and I want to say M390 for the blade. They were like $300 at the time when they came out. Really, really nice knives. I've had one in the past, and I actually kind of miss it sometimes, which, if you've watched the channel before, you know I don't love flipper-only knives, but the full-size version, the original version from MassDrop, was one I really enjoyed. Now, this version here is coming from Kaviso. Kaviso, I guess, bought the rights or whatever to MassDrop's EDC stuff, because they also did a run of the Ferrum Forged Gent, I believe. So now we have a mini version of the Keen as well, something that they did in collaboration. And now these are more budget versions as well. I don't know the price of these off the top of my head, but you can see there, if it comes into focus, 14C28N is your blade steel. And I believe these are aluminum. They're either anodized aluminum or titanium. I'm sorry, I don't have the details in front of me. My laptop's currently away, so I can't look at it like I normally do, and I didn't prepare. Which you guys, if you've been around the channel, know that I typically don't. This is a particular model. I'll talk about the bad things about this one first. The lock bar access is absolute trash and garbage, and the detent really kind of sucks. You can see it deploys, but you really have to pull down on that, or you can do a real hard like push button, and that'll actually get it to fire out. But just pulling down on that flipper tab, you have to really yank down on it to get that to deploy. As for the lock bar, you can see there's a slight chamfer there to get to it, but really it's just super tight liner lock that isn't giving you much detent, which is annoying with how tight it is. Just to get in there to disengage it is not fun. This jimping, it's not helping anything. It's aggressive. It doesn't feel good on the thumb. And if you want to use this like a liner lock where it drops to your thumb, you either have to go way down on the bottom and really press, which again, it's not a comfortable lock bar, or you have to kind of use like your fingernail. And then the action's just okay after that. It's a really light blade, and even though this is on bearings, the lack of weight in the blade here does not make this drop shut in a very nice way. The original Keen had phenomenal action. Now, don't get me wrong, it had very thick blade stock, but it also had a full flat grind just like this, so it came down to a reasonably thin edge. And again, I really liked that knife a lot. But, you know, this knife is not bad, it's just not great. There's a couple things like that lock bar access and the detent that kind of ruin it for me. I wear a large size glove. I can just squeeze my fourth finger on here if I'm up kind of against the flipper tab here. But otherwise, it's almost a 3-finger knife. You can choke up if you want, but you're going to be right on the edge of that blade as well, right on the heel. So it's not something I would suggest. Now, in terms of cutting performance, this was just fine. You can see you have a pretty standard blade stock here. It's probably 0.11 or so. Definitely a little bit thinner than 1/8 of an inch, at least by the looks of things. Haven't measured it, of course. But you have that flat grind that is almost a full flat grind. You can see there's just a little bit of flat right here, and it comes down to a pretty thin edge, and it cuts pretty well. 14C28N, really easy to sharpen, takes a great edge, so no complaints there. The pocket clip is nice. You have a milled titanium clip held in place by 2 screws, which is nice because then you don't get any of that wiggle on there. That's nice and secure, and that works just fine in the pocket. You can see this is about your depth of carry, so not a whole lot sticking out. Lanyard hole for those who want it. Matching backspacer to the handle material. And I think that's about all that I have to say. overall, I mean, take it or leave it. A Ray Laconico design is always very simple, but almost always very utilitarian and nice to look at. I like a lot of Ray's design language. I've owned several Easy C's in the past. I've owned a CJ, a custom from him, as well as an MBK River Otter, or Sea Otter, excuse me. And they're all great knives, and they all kind of come from Ray's brain. So, not too surprising that his Keen design, but shrunken down in the mini size, is pretty good. But just the execution is something that I am not a huge fan of. But again, this is a good design that performs really well, and it's not too expensive. So let me know what you guys think down below about the mini Keen, or the full-size Keen for that matter. If you preferred the original MassDrop version, I want to hear about that down below too. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, and take care.